What if I were to tell you that things for EV drivers were about to get a lot more expensive? What would you think about that? Well, they are going to get a lot more expensive. Let's get into it, and I'm going to tell you why. So for quite a long time now, we EV drivers, we've had it pretty good. We really haven't paid any, should I say, surcharges on driving our electric vehicles. We've had a lot of incentives along the way. We've had a lot of government credits. There's been a lot of ideas around how to promote EV adoption through credits, incentives, and all of that. Well, unfortunately, those days have come to an end. If you've been following the news recently, you might have heard that the UK government has been talking about imposing a per-use fee on driving your EV. So what this is that basically it comes down to being a mileage tax. So the rumored amount is going to be about 3 pence per mile driven. I think that's around 5 cents Canadian, 6 cents Canadian per mile, or whatever it is in kilometers. This is the idea that's being promoted by Rachel Reeves. From my understanding, they're not too sure how they're going to do it yet, whether it's going to be GPS based, whether it's going to be through your MOT inspection or ANPR cameras. They're not too sure about that. It's kind of strange because I believe only about 5% of cars in the UK are EVs. As you know, we spend quite a lot of time in the UK. We've done a lot of filming there. There's a lot of you watching in the UK. So we're going to touch on what's going on there and also what's happening here in Canada and Quebec specifically what's happening, because sort of the same talk is happening here. There's already going to be some new fees going in there, so we'll try to get through it. So basically what this is going to come down to is if you have a full battery electric vehicle or a plug-in hybrid, you're going to be charged some sort of nominal fee per mile driving it in the UK. It should work out to about $400 a year Canadian. Now, the way they want to do this is, as I said, either through GPS or ANPR, but the reason why they're doing this is, and this has been kind of the elephant in the room with EV adoption and plug-in hybrid and all that stuff, is the amount of fuel taxes. It possibly could be making a dent in the budgets now. When you have high adoption of EVs, people aren't buying as much petrol, they're not buying as much gas, they're not buying as much fuel, so you're not collecting those sweet tax dollars from the sale of fuel or petrol. And it could be making a dent in their budget. Now, this has always been somewhat of a point of contention with internal combustion drivers and EV drivers, is that EV drivers don't pay their fair share of the gas taxes. Fine, I get it. I can understand that. However, what it is that it's going to be an added extra fee. When you go to the pumps, you're not really thinking about how much taxes are in that liter of petrol or in that liter of fuel or gallon of fuel if you're buying it in gallons. You're basically just going there, you're pumping, and you're in and out, and you're done. This is going to be an added fee extra as to what you're paying at the pump. Also, I get concerned with if they're going to roll it out on EVs, chances are they might be looking to apply this to all vehicles eventually, and EVs and plug-in hybrids are being the guinea pig for testing on this program. The other issue too is, well, how do you go about taxing it? Do you tax it, let's say if it does come to other vehicles, do you tax it based on age, pollution output, weight, all of that? We as humans don't like paying any more taxes than what we have to, and lately everything feels like it's a subscription plan or monthly payments for absolutely everything. And it's sort of strange in the UK because they just launched their EV tax credit program again. I believe it's £4,000 on a list of approved vehicles. And now they're talking about introducing this. And if you know anything about the UK, public charging is apocalyptically and ruinously expensive. And I'm not talking about if you're going to a Tesla supercharger on a subscription or Ionity. Oh, I love Ionity on a subscription. I'm talking about if you're going to InstaVolt, GridServe, Shell Recharge, any of their charging providers. I mean, you could be paying anywhere between 79p to 89p per kilowatt hour DC fast charging on the road, and in that case, it has become the same price as diesel or petrol. So you're trying to get people into EVs, but you want to charge them a mileage tax, and public charging is already the same price as petrol or diesel. So I don't know. That doesn't make any sense to me. Like I said, I don't mind paying some sort of nominal fee to make up for the lost revenue and gas taxes, which we're going to touch on now. So that's enough with the UK stuff. Maybe we'll come back to that. So where I live in Quebec, I would say 40% of the cost of fuel per liter is going to be taxes. And I have it written down here on the computer. So you have a federal excise tax, you have a Quebec excise tax, you have Quebec carbon tax, you have a Montreal transit tax. We'll talk more about that in a second as well. And then you have your general sales tax, or your GST, PST, or basically it's your value-added tax here. So it roughly comes up here to about 69 cents per liter of tax on everything. Then you're also having to deal with in extra fees regarding here in Montreal. So they just put an extra $100 a year on basically your road tax, your license plates. Back to UK for a second. I know that EVs were exempt, I believe, until April 1st, 2025, with not paying any road tax. So now EVs have to pay road tax, their registration fees in the UK as well. So here in Montreal, our plates are around $362 a year. We pay an extra $150 a year for a public transit contribution. And if you're buying fuel, you're paying an extra 3 cents, 4 cents a liter anywhere in the greater Montreal region on fuel. However, starting in 2027, the current government in power in Quebec is going to be adding a $100 surcharge per EV and plug-in hybrid onto your registration. So now our registration fee goes up to $465 a year, roughly. And there's a lot of talk here regarding the same sort of scheme where they want to implement a per kilometer base tax. And if you know the condition of our roads here in Quebec, I don't know where the rest of the tax goes to, but it definitely doesn't go to road improvement or public transit, it would appear. REM is a whole different way. It's how it's funded, sort of. Another video for another day on that. So the other thing, too, in Quebec, there's about, I believe, I looked it up quickly on Google, there was about 7 million cars here in Quebec, which I find is actually probably a lot. It doesn't feel like that at times, but it could make sense. But only about 10% of those are fully electric cars. So I really wonder what sort of loss they have there, where they have to charge EVs a bit more. Now, I know a lot of you are saying you do have to pay your fair share. I'm fine with that. Look, I'll be honest, I took advantage of the full rebate here with 2 electric cars, so about $24,000 of rebates, because we all know that they're just, quote, rebates. I don't necessarily feel that charging an extra $100 a year on your license plates, especially in the greater Montreal area, is going to make a huge dent. I'm very on the fence. I don't mind paying the per kilometer tax. I don't drive a lot, so it really wouldn't I don't think it would make a huge dent for us. But if you're driving a lot, regardless of a powertrain, it could start adding up really, really quickly. And yeah, it's quite an interesting topic. It's going to get to some sort of point where there was going to be extra fees for EVs, or this pay per use tax, but that's essentially what it comes down to. Is it's time to start paying our fair share. I know this sounds very strange for me. Like I said, I don't necessarily mind paying as long as it's implemented properly, and that's the whole other thing. Is that what is this system in the UK going to cost to maintain, to keep going? Is it going to cost more money than what comes in? Even here, if they start implementing this, and there has been talk about it here in Quebec, there has been talk, a GPS-based system where you would basically, as soon as your car started moving, it would log it and you would be off and on your way, and it would bill you by there. Very scary stuff. And then you go into the whole data security side of it. How is your data stored? Where are they tracking you? What are the metrics? How are they selling that data? Because definitely it will be worth something at the end of the day. I think we pretty much covered everything. I really wanted to more talk about that UK stuff. If you are in the UK, I know some of you Viewers, you are in the UK, you are watching, please comment, add anything. If I got anything wrong, please let me know what you think, what I can add. We can revisit this. Do you actually drive 8,900 miles per year, which is what the average figure, what they were talking about? Please let me know in that comment section if you want to talk about this more, and if you just want to talk about EV adoption in general here and all the extra fees that are going to be associated with it. I guess we could do more of these sit-down chats in my basement at a later date. Yeah, so that's it. Thank you for watching, and hopefully we know more about this soon when it's announced, this pay-per-use tax. But the days of the free ride for us EV owners, it's coming to an end. It's really coming to an end. It's sad to see, but we all knew it was going to happen, so it was expected. That's going to be it from here, from my secret lair, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.